Peace and Black Power family. Harlem educator, author, and activist, the Black Liberation Coach, Brother Agyei Tyehimba. I just want to take a few moments to welcome you to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School was started in 2016 by myself and my queen, and we basically saw that there was a lack of foundational Black political education going on in Harlem. We're not going to get up from under white supremacy without knowing how oppression works, how it affects and impacts in our community, the ways in which we internalize our own oppression and engage in self-defeating behavior and thinking, and our socio-political movements and our very important individuals and organizations throughout our history who played a leading role in fighting against and resisting and disrupting white supremacy. So Harlem Liberation School was founded as a Black political education center for adults. Because education is not just relegated to children. Adults need education. It's those of us adults who maybe when we were kids did not get that foundational Africana studies of Black political education. The things we need to know to be free and to fight effectively for our liberation. And so that's what we're here to do. We hope that you will come through, check us out, look at our videos, like them, comment on them, and share them. Peace and Black Power. Peace and Black Power family. It's your Harlem educator, author, and activist, the Black Liberation Coach, Brother Agyei Tyehimba. And I'm usually filming live on location in that wonderful historical and political village of Harlem, New York. Today, I'm not quite in Harlem, not in New York State at all. Visiting family, so as you can see, the background is different. I'm not in my typical home studio sort of setup. I want to certainly greet all of my brothers and sisters with Happy New Year. I know some of us dispute that it's the new year. We go by a different calendar. No problem. I'm not arguing with y'all family, but I think most people acknowledge that it's the new year according to the calendar that most of us follow. Happy New Year, family. There's nothing wrong with celebrating. There's nothing wrong with coming together with family. Nothing wrong with showing love to each other, commemorating important events in our lives, looking back and assessing what we've done and where it got us and what we need to do so it can get us where we want to be. I want to just put this up to remind us of what we are in fact talking about today. We're talking about questions to ask ourselves in this new year of 2023. You know, as a lifelong educator at different levels, elementary, middle school, high school, and college, I find that we often think that education is a bunch of pontificating, telling people what to do, telling people what to think, filling their minds up like they're almost like trash cans or bags and you're dumping stuff in it. And I emphatically disagree with that concept of education. You know, education is not about dumping knowledge in people's head, starting with this presumption that they're empty vessels and you're filling them with this knowledge. No, I disagree with that. That's old school, family. I look at education as a process that's lighting your mind on fire, that's igniting you, that's bringing out what's already in you and refining it and sharpening it. You know, because educos or educare, which is the Latin, means to bring from within, to bring out. So when you really educate a person, hopefully what you're doing is bringing out the beauty, the genius, the creativity, the organization, the ingenuity that's already in them that they may not have known they had. Or they may have known they had, but they weren't able to sufficiently operationalize it. You feel me? That's what it's about. So to demonstrate what I'm talking about, a different way of educating and looking at education, I'm not going to become with a bunch of you need to do this, you need to do that stuff. I think we got to get to a place where we teach our people to think, to be independent. If you got to be holding somebody's hand at certain ages, then you didn't educate them well. Education is supposed to be so that a person can be self-sufficient, self-dependent, self-reliant. That's not to say they don't interact with others, but it means that they can stand on their own too. You don't have to keep holding their hand, family. So for this particular broadcast, I'm going to give you nothing but questions, things that I sincerely believe if we ask of ourselves and we really take time to think them through and answer them and move on our answers, it will almost guarantee that this year will be strong and empowering. And after all, regardless of your political ideology, I believe that that's at the center of what we all want, right? Okay, let me just make sure I look at the comments. We have Brother Jabril, Africa, Abibi Fahudi Baba, let's make a heavy push for African liberation. In 2023, you know it all day, every day, Brother Jabril, all day, every day. All day, every day. That's dominated my mind and my activities, man, for at least about 35 to 37 years. Absolutely, brother, I'm with you. And, maybe we need to build on the side and talk about how we can work together to make such things happen. You feel me? I'm going to quickly, after I go through this presentation, I'm going to put up something where people can come in the studio and we can build, together in the studio. All right, family, let me go to this. I'm going to miniaturize myself, and we're going to focus now on this presentation. Let me just clear anything that's in the way. All right, 2 things to consider in 2023. Now, keep in mind, I'm kind of tricking you a little bit. There are 2 major things, but within each thing is several questions. So why don't we begin? Remember, education is not about coming up with answers all the time or thinking we know the answers. People, to me, the highest form of intelligence comes through the right questions. The right questions to ask, right? Okay, why don't we begin? Let's see what we got. So let's say that we start with self-development. Self-development. So let's start here. One of the main things we need to think about is self-development. But under that self-development theme, look at all these questions we got. Just ask yourself this, family. This is not accusatory. This is not blaming. This is not coming from that spirit. These are things that you do for yourself. You got to be one of people telling you what you're going to do. No. Just answer these for yourself in the quiet of your own mind and commit to answering these and operating on the answers you come up with for your life. So this will look different for different people. That's education, right? It's not cookie cutter. It's differentiated, we say, as educators. Some people that read really fast, you give them a certain lesson. The people that have problems reading, you give them a kind of different lesson, right? Okay. Before we begin, we have some comments. I want to just make sure. Brother Jabril says he loved to connect. That's what this is about, good brother. Yes, sir. Bobby Wright, love that name. Love the brothers named after Habaragani brothers and sisters. And there's our sister Monica Morton. Wakusu, peace to you, Sister Monica. Happy New Year to you and your family. Hope your girls are doing well. All right. So let's look at it, family. Let's look at a few questions. And you know what? I think I'm going to take myself. I'm going to make sure I can see. All right. Have you identified your life purpose? Number 1, notice these questions will have very little to do with other people. Very little to do with what this one's doing, what that one thinks of you, what they did to you. This is about you. Have you identified your life purpose? Are you clear? If someone said, why are you here on this earth, man? What's your purpose? Are you able to answer that in a sentence or two? And then the second part of that is, are you living your purpose or fulfilling what you're here to do? Us know what we're here to do, but we're simply not doing the work that relates to what we're here to do, right? So this is a question for yourself. This is not for you to go around telling other people, family. This is internal work we're doing on self so that we're better people. We're our highest selves, and we can present to our community and organizations and businesses and families a better person. When we work on self, it makes everybody around us better, right? Number 2 question under this topic of self-development: are you working to sharpen your skills and knowledge? So whatever your life purpose is, right? Are you actually developing the skills to develop that life purpose, to make yourself more efficient at what your life purpose contains? That's important. We see The Queen Bee saying Wakusa to the family. And we see Sister Sheila, who I believe is over in Germany, originally from Brazil, saying good evening, family, and Happy New Year. So we know she's in another country, right? Because over here in the United States, it's 3:17, at least in the East Coast. She's saying good evening. So she kind of gave us a clue that she's in another country. Peace to Sister Sheila. Thank you for tuning in as always. And to my Queen Bee, Sister Brenda. The third kind of question under self-development. All questions, no telling you what to do. Questions, right? Are you useful to those around you? This is very important. We have all these different metrics. How do we measure, how powerful we are, how great we are? One very simple thing to ask yourself is, are you useful? Are you useful to your family members? Are you useful in the household? Are you useful on the job? Are you useful in the community? Are you useful on the block? Are you useful? And everybody can be useful. It's very inclusive. It's not elitist. It doesn't talk about, do you have this degree? Did you do that? Are you useful? So what does this mean? It's relative. If your community, if your household's dirty, are you helping to clean it? You're useful. Is there ignorance in your neighborhood or community around the issues of identity, around issues of who our enemy is, around issues of culture and refinement? And do you help to teach? Do you give people another way of thinking? You're being useful. So it's all relative. If you go down to the letter D, do you generally keep your word and fulfill your responsibilities? I think that's self-explanatory. That's about character. That's also a thing of self-discipline, disciplining your words, right? Not saying things that you're not prepared to follow up on. Right? So it's very good, that one. If you go to E, are you forgiving? Are you empathetic? Are you gentle with yourself and others? So if there's a critique, if there's something you don't like, if you're trying to be corrective, do you do that in a way with a person, even if their feelings are hurt, they can respect you, they know that you're not out to hurt them? Or do you do it in a way where you crush their spirit? And now their ears and minds are closed to you and to others who are trying to help them. In other words, we have to come from love. Are we judgmental? Have we forgotten all the mucked up, knuckleheaded, backwards things we've done? Right? When people were trying to steer us right and we were resisting them. Have we forgotten that? Right? So it's saying, remember, you're imperfect. We've flawed. We've hurt people intentionally or not. We've gone left when we should have went right. We ignored very wise and sage advice. So we got to remember that, so that when we come up against the reflection of ourselves, we don't shut people down. We're empathetic. We say, you know what? I remember I was like that. Or we say, maybe they don't know better. Or we say, well, instead of getting mad, I'm going to look at it as the universe has put me in a perfect position to be a helpmeet to someone else. And who better to help the person who's stubborn or whatever, doesn't listen or whatever, than somebody who used to be stubborn and didn't listen? Who better to help them? So maybe it's the way we look at things. Okay, let's move down this list under self-development. Questions to ask yourself, ourselves in 2023. F, are you focused or are you easily distracted? I'm not going to go into every question. Self-explanatory. Are you focused or are you easily distracted? If we're at war and your assignment was to go to the top of the roof and snipe people who are breaching our perimeter, are you going to be able to focus on that mission, or there's a squirrel and you're like, oh, look at that, and you get lost and now the enemy breaches us? Focus, family. You'd be surprised how people who are less talented than you, less intelligent than you, with focus will outdo you every time if you're unfocused. So one good measurement or metric to look at in our lives is, are we focused? What is focus? The ability to concentrate on one thing at one time and see it through to completion and to do a good job of it. Very important for anything that involves success or empowerment. G, do you set healthy boundaries in your life? I think Chancellor Williams, in his classic book, Destruction of Black Civilization, uh, in one of the last chapters, talked about how one of the mistakes we made, because we had a cosmology that was teaching love, empathy, compassion, which are good things. I just talked about those. But in some respects, we failed to set healthy boundaries. That maybe we were just a little bit too embracing. Maybe we were just a little bit too inclusive. And that maybe if we could go back in history, we might want to say, no, y'all can't come here. Our borders are closed to you. Right? We might want to rethink certain things when we look back in hindsight, because in some respects, our being kind of embracing and all inclusive and put us in vulnerable positions where people who were not smarter than us, who were not greater than us, who were not stronger than us, overtook us through superior weaponry and through technology of religion and other sort of political ideologies they impose on us. There is nothing wrong, family, brothers and sisters, with being loving and empathetic and compassionate and, humanitarian even, but you gotta have boundaries. If you ever forget this, think about your body. Your body has boundaries, sets boundaries. It has an immune system. First of all, it's covered by skin so that everything can't get in your body, right? If you eat something that kind of ain't right, you're gonna regurgitate that. You're gonna throw that up. Your body say, "Oh no, 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 no! This got to go," and you have nothing to do with it. It's involuntary. It just happens. Of course, if you can't catch it in time, then you're gonna have to go to the hospital and get your stomach pumped. But your body has a natural boundary system. The skin, it has regurgitation. It has the immune system that doesn't just let every thing can come into every type of agent can come in your body. Your body has said, no, this agent, it means harm, and your army comes out to attack these viruses, right? We can learn just from looking at our own bodies. Everything ain't good. Just because it's there don't mean it's good. Just because people crack jokes and smile and they seem charming and don't mean they're nice. We have to be more discriminating, and we have to set careful boundaries. We could still be loving, and we could be cordial and cool, but we got to know when to say, yo, you better back them up, right? At all times, be able to shut it down. Don't let people think that your empathy, your compassion, your gentleman or gentlewomanliness should be construed as you're weak or stupid or naive. Never let that be the case, family. Let's move on. It says H, letter H question says, are your opinions, beliefs, or expectations based on truth, facts, and lived experience, or are they based on rumors, assumptions, and illusions? You talk to people a lot of times. I have a few people I went to school with who are psychologists and a few who are psychiatrists. And over the years, having discussions with them, they say, you'd be amazed at the things people believe about themselves and the world and other people that are simply not true, but they're assumptions in the person's head, right? So like they operate on their life based on assumptions and illusions that aren't true. Why won't you go for the job? They never hire me. How do you know that? Is that a fact? Did you research their record, or are you just saying that? And why do you believe that if it's not a fact, if it's not based on your research or your lived experience? And that's a form of sickness, fam. You're just conjuring up things that actually have no theoretical, factual basis. And if you build your life on that, you're like building a building on quicksand. You're setting up a situation where you will fail, and your failure will be self-prophesized. It will be a failure that you self-fulfill, because in your mind you set it up where you can't win. And it's funny, this one brother was telling me, he said it's amazing. And I'll ask him, well, why do you believe that? Why do you believe that nobody supports you? Why do you believe that everybody's against you? Why do you believe that this is the case? Do you have proof? What's your proof of that? It's amazing that how many people, he told me, have these phobias of people and situations that get in the way of them engaging and getting things done in a meaningful way, or using their past to hold it against them, or their parent said this, or their boyfriend or girlfriend said this, and they're holding that. But what that person said to you has no basis in fact, family. It's simply their opinion. And even if their opinion of you is negative and is correct, that doesn't mean you got to hold it for the rest of your life. Human beings have great capacity to change. We can transform ourselves, family. Just because I'm stubborn now don't mean I got to be stubborn for the rest of my life. Just because my vocabulary is little now don't mean my vocabulary got to be little for the rest of my life. Just because I can't save money to save my life don't mean I got to be that way forever. We can change if we commit. And this is what we're talking about today, right? Kind of this idea of commitment. Give me 1 second, family. I want to make sure I have something correctly on here. 1 second. Also, want to thank Sister Sheila Esther. She's supporting my book on leadership, my latest book. Thank you, Sister Sheila. All right. Now let's see. Give me 1 second, family. Make sure I'm not missing anything, you know? That's what this is about right now. Just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, move this over. All right. Let's get back. Let me go back. I'm sorry. All right. Don't believe. I'm suggesting that we be careful about believing in illusions, lies, old wives' tales, anecdotes. We got to start asking ourselves. I know this is what so and so said, but is it true? In my life, has that been the case? Has it been the case that no matter what I do, I'm going to fail? Is that true? Or is it you fail because you didn't do your proper due diligence and research, or you fail because you didn't build enough network capacity, or you fail because you was lazy, or you fail? You understand? Was it some cosmic conspiracy against you for real? Or did it have something to do with maybe your ignorance about certain things? Or something about your personality that got in the way? This is what I'm asking. That we do that real soul searching for the new year, so that every new year we can say we're making improvement, not just on one day. This is a daily thing, right? We revisit these sort of questions. That's what I'm talking about. Let me go back. Also, we want to know, do you accept responsibilities for your shortcomings? Or do you tend to blame other people for them, right? So you're late, but you're late because so-and-so. Something broke, but something broke because so-and-so. And we know, family, listen, we know that it's never things that go wrong are never, ever just one person's fault. We know that. But this is about that honesty we're talking about, being honest. Once you realize I'm an imperfect being and I make mistakes, and I'm constantly striving to be better, and I'm not going to beat myself up for mistakes. I mean, I'm going to learn the lesson. I'm going to move on. And maybe I'll make new mistakes, but I won't keep making the same old mistakes. Once you do that, it's liberating. You no longer have this ego need to appear like you're flawless, like it couldn't possibly be your fault. You're liberated. You understand? No, I take accountability for the role I play in the areas of my life that I am not happy with. I take responsibility, right? To be able to see things clearly, right? Because what is it called when you can't see your reality clearly, or you see things that aren't there, as in the case we just described, all these things you're thinking that aren't true, and you're basing your life on a bunch of untruths and illusions. What is that called? You can't see what's in front of you, or you see things in front of you that are not there. What do they call that? Insanity. Remember that, family, right? Okay. So being able to say, This person is responsible for this, but I play a part in that too. And this area of my life that's not where I want to be, I play a part in that. That is nothing. It doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you strong. It's those of us who, no matter what, no, it wasn't me. No, it wasn't me. No, that will hold you back more so than being able to be honest and say, no, I did play a role in that. Because when you say I played a role in it, it builds character through being self-accountable. And also, you can identify an area of your life or character that needs improvement, and you can work on it and be better. That's very important. Let's move on. Do you regularly set aside time to care for yourself? There's a big movement now about self-care. And though a lot of it is targeted to Black women who definitely need to take care of themselves because they typically put everybody first. Black men need that too. Because Black men, it's, oh no, we're indestructible. We can't cry. We can't show emotion. We can't be vulnerable. We can't ask for advice. We can't admit we don't know something. And that creates a whole nother set of negative, toxic outcomes. Men and women in our community need to set aside time to take care for themselves. And depending on who you are and what you like and what your life experience is like, that manifests in different ways. For some of you, that's getting spa treatment, getting massages, getting your nail cut. I don't know. For some of you, that's hot baths and scented candles and high frequency music playing. For some of you, that's devotionals and reading scripture. For some, you understand. For some of you, it's meditation and quiet time. But means that you can't give others what you don't have. How about that? You can't give somebody else what you don't have, family. So it's hard to give all this love and this and that, and you're not manifesting love for yourself. Or to give people energy and you don't have energy. Your energy is depleted because you're always tired. You're stretched in a million different directions. You're afraid to tell somebody, no, I can't do that. That's self-care sometimes. I can't do that, right? So that's important. Okay, let's move on and quickly get to the next piece. Do you regularly set aside time to read and increase your knowledge and wisdom? You cannot be a person that's a heavy impact person that impacts people and communities and organizations and households. If you are not learning, if you're not developing a deep and wide reservoir of knowledge and wisdom, it's impossible. Your ignorance will be a major barrier to your forward motion, your own ignorance, believing things that aren't true. You understand, believing all types of self-limiting beliefs, or trying to diagnose the problem in the community, and you're completely wrong, because you didn't study it. You're coming from what you think as opposed to what you know. Very important. Set aside time to read and increase your knowledge and wisdom every day. Every day. Why do I say this? Because I go with the turtle philosophy. It's not the things we do every now and then, twice a year, maybe once a month, that's going to make us or break us or define us. It's the things you do consistently that tell you who you are. So if you gossip every day, you're a gossip. If you're pickpocketing people 3-4 times a week, that's what you're a pickpocket, you're a thief. If you're having fights 80 times in a week, you like to fight. You're a fighter. You have violence, right? But on the flip side, if you're industrious every day, if you're working on yourself every day, right? If you're helping people in some way, shape, or form every day, then that's who you are. And that's a choice, family. You choose how you spend your time. You choose what you engage in and who you engage and how you engage in it. So those are all choices. But it's important that we put time aside to read and increase our knowledge and wisdom. Why? So we can say how smart we are? No. So we can be more useful. So we can help solve the problems that are plaguing our homes and our communities and our organizations for real, not just talking, flapping our jaws, but really come with Oh, this is to be able to diagnose the problem, help people understand a range of solutions, and help people to have agency, to be active agents of their own liberation, to solve their own problems, and not be all frazzled and weak and fearful. We can't do that. We can. Yes, you can, but you got to have the right knowledge and wisdom, fam. There's no way around that, right? So anybody that's coming into your community downplaying the need to read, downplaying the need to know, to understand, is not an asset to the community. They're a detriment to the community. That's not to say that's all you do, sit around reading all day. You got to act, but you must develop a deep and wide reservoir of knowledge and wisdom, at least with respect to things you do. So if I'm an engineer, I should be constantly reading about my craft. If I'm a musician, I should be reading about my craft and learning. I don't care if you're hip hop artist, whatever you do, you should be reading and learning about it. It'll make you more proficient. All right, let us move now quickly to our other major consideration, and that is team building. So remember, I said there's two things you should consider for the new year. These are the two things. The first thing was what? Self-development. The next thing is team building. And these are questions to ask yourself. We got Queen Lo Glenn in the building saying, Wukusu, back to you, Queen. I hope that your daughters are well. I hope you are well. I see you traveling across the country doing your thing. Salute to you, my sister. Keep up the beautiful work. And thank you for joining us as well, too. So the first thing we said, the first question you should ask is about your self-development. The second question you should ask is about team building. Notice we go from self to community, from self to others. Because without self, your work with others is going to be negligible, family. You gotta fill your cup so you have something to pour out to other people. So in terms of team building, we have different questions to ask. Remember, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm raising questions that I think if you ask these questions honestly and operate on the basis of your answers, your year is going to be much better than the previous. That's just universal law. So number one, are you on a high functioning or winning team? Be truthful. Are you on a high functioning or winning team? You may say, well, how do I know if it's high functioning or winning? Well, let's go to the next question. Is your team intentionally working to achieve common goals? Right? So do y'all meet and these are our goals for this year. And this is how we're going to do it. And everybody has input and, right? Are y'all rehearsing? Do y'all practice together? Do y'all have times where y'all do stuff together? Or is everybody doing their own thing? Is there a sense that we're a team and we work together? And if we work together, we can make each person's life easier. Are we reaching the goals we set? If you're doing those things, you're on a high functioning or winning team. If, however, the opposite is true, then you're on a low functioning and a losing team. And let me be clear, just to admit that you're losing, there is nothing wrong with that. I played football for many years. There were many games we were losing. And if we're losing 40-13, we're not going to turn around and ignore the fact that we're losing. We're going to acknowledge that we're losing. Why? So that we now say, oh, man, we better pull it together. Maybe we need to run new plays. Maybe we need to have a different offensive or defensive scheme, right? So it's never weak to admit when you're losing. Never. It's strong. It's intelligent. Third question, do your teammates demonstrate important character traits that you need to have a winning team? I'm not going to go through all of them. You know what they are. What character traits do you want in your teammates? The people you rocking with every day. The people that's in your business, your family, your organization. Trustworthiness, honesty, transparency, competency. You want to know that if they're in a position, they're qualified to do what they're doing. You don't want the thief to be handling the money, correct? Things like that, right? You want your spokesperson to be articulate and eloquent and know the ins and outs of your organization, know what's appropriate to say publicly and what's inappropriate. Just common sense stuff, right? And look, for each of these questions, that's on you. So if you say, man, I got teammates that don't demonstrate certain questions. Okay, what does that mean for you? That these may be things you want to to have workshops on or meetings or discussions. You don't just sit there and say, man, we're losing. The leader says, man, we got to do things different, right? And they attempt to institute some structures, some routines, some practices, some policies to help their team be more efficient. But the answers are up to you, family. I'm just raising the question, right? We'll go down to the next question. Does every teammate have specific work or responsibilities they're required to do? See, the whole point of a team, if you're going to do all 800 things in your organization, household, or business, then you don't need a team. You just do all 800 things yourself. Not very wise, not very healthy, not very practical, but that's your choice. But if you say, man, I can't do all 800 of these things at a high level and still have some rest and some degree of health and do it well, I need help. Then the presumption is you got a team and that everyone is doing something. If you got a team and you're doing 80% of the work, your team is not working well. If you got a team with 8 teammates, but only 3 are required to do anything and are held responsible for doing things, your team isn't working well. So this is what we're talking about. Do they have specific things to do? Right? And all those things are seen as important. If you got a team and this one is the custodian and the rest of the teammates are looking down on the custodian because they're responsible for cleaning, that's not a good team. A good team will acknowledge the custodian to the same degree they acknowledge the spokesperson, to the same degree they acknowledge the CEO, because every one of those teammates is helping that team to win and to get ahead. Moving on, are your teammates coddled and excused when they muck up? Certain people can get away with repeatedly mucking up, other people can't. Or is every teammate held accountable? In a good team, in a well-functioning team, in a winning championship team, everyone is held accountable. That means the superstar is held accountable down to the person on the bench who almost never is a starting player. Everyone on your team is held accountable. For what? One, to do the job they're assigned to do or that they chose to do. If they don't know how to do something, they are responsible for letting that be known. I need more help. I don't know how to do this. Right? Also, if a teammate is in violation of the team, they're not allowed to just continually violate the team and nothing is done about it. That is inexcusable. The leaders have to set routines up, discipline. So let's say on a football team, from my experience, if a guy comes late, if I come late to practice, the coach is going to be like, give me 10 laps. Give me X amount of push-ups. Right? If too many individuals on the team are in violation, now the coach will make the whole team do those laps and the whole team do those push-ups. They're teaching something. They're saying that we're going to sink or swim. We're going to rise or fall on the basis of how all of the teammates are performing on this team, because we are separate individuals, but we are one unit. So it's very important to make sure that no one is being coddled. No one, they can muck up and, that's okay. No. And of course, you make sure that you give people you try to be fair. You're not going to hold a 5-year-old to the same set of accountability as you would a 50-year-old, right? So you give people should have assignments and responsibilities that they can reasonably complete, just to be fair, right? We got Brother Eddie Miles in the building. He says, Wukusu, peace to the brother Eddie Miles. And also we have, what else? We have, I can't talk to you right now, buddy. Come in, man. You want to talk to, come in. Come on, let's get over here. Let's see. I got to let y'all see. My little man, his name is, what's your name? What's your name, boy? Aramis. This is Aramis. This boy about to turn 3 years old tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we want to shout him out. Don't touch the computer though. Want to shout him out? Let's make sure y'all can see his handsome face on this young man. Look at that young man right there. That's a future warrior right there. We want to shout him out. Happy birthday to you coming up. We want to shout out his mama, Miata. And we shout out his grandma, my queen, Sister Brenda Halle. Now, I got to finish my presentation. Yes, I'm out. I got to finish my presentation now.
Why you switch white?
All right. Okay, let's move on. Does your team communicate its expectations and its needs clearly? So, in other words, if, let's say, Aramis is on our team, right?
Yeah.
And Aramis, let's say, left his blocks out, right? We may have to communicate to Aramis, he's a teammate, right? So we may have to say, yo, Ari, man, you got to put them blocks away, shorty. And we got to make sure he understands that. He can do that. He's capable of doing that. And we got to make sure we enforce that. Whoever you are, if you're on a team, you have responsibilities. But we have to communicate our needs. And people should never feel penalized if they're trying to communicate a need. If somebody say, yo, we got to do this better, team, they shouldn't feel like they can't say that because people will be overly critical of them, make them feel bad for raising an issue. All right, now, Aramis, I need you to be quiet now, okay? Yes, that's me, and that's you too. See? Wave to people. Go wave. Look, you don't see you. Look, wave. Say these young ones are something else, man. They give you hope, energize you, you know? I'm sure that you all can see the rest of our questions. Do your teammates acknowledge and value other contributions to the team? In other words, you should have mutual respect. You should be able to say, when I look at my teammates, this person cooks, this person cleans, this person educates, this person, whatever they do, you should respect everyone's contribution. You can't have these hierarchical kind of understandings of leadership or team building. You have to respect every teammate's contribution, right? Okay. What else we got? Oh, and Queen Lo is saying happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, she's happy birthday to you. But you gotta stop because I gotta finish. Okay. All right. Can't play with the computer. All right. Then we have, do your teammates set each other up to succeed or fail? Very simple question. So if everyone's doing what they're supposed to do in a timely fashion, you're setting your teammates up to succeed. But if you're lagging behind, if one or two people aren't doing what they're supposed to do, then you're setting your team up to fail. Now look here, boy. I'm about to get your rib. Let me get them ribs. Now I'm gonna give you my old time trick. There. Get over here, boy. I hate to beat up the young like this, people. Oh man. All right. And the very last question. Are you on the right team?
No.
What this means is okay, my brother, I'm sorry. Pardon me, just for 1 minute. If you don't listen, you gotta go. All right? Are you on the right team? Are you in a place where people are acknowledging everything I'm saying here? They're like, yeah, we try. We don't always succeed, Agyei, but we try. Very important. Are you on the right team? Sometimes, family, we mean well. We want to help. Everyone wants to kind of find out where they belong. They want to be accepted. They want to take their gifts and their skills and contribute it to a team. But sometimes we're just on the wrong team. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It's not personal. Look, we have lives. I don't know what your cosmology is. I don't know if you believe in an afterlife. But let's say there is no afterlife. Don't you want to know that your time on this earth was spent productively, constructively, that you were fulfilled, that you felt that your life had meaning? Yes, you do. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're doing your best to be the best teammate you can be, but you're with a team where people are like, whatever, yeah, whatever, man. I ain't coming to that meeting. I'm going to come when I want. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this when I choose to. That's not going to work. So if you find that you can't, and if you're the type of person that's like, look, this is not working, we got to do better, and people are not stepping up, then you now have to ask yourself, in 2023, am I on the right team? And if the team ain't right, you have some choices to make. You have several choices, which I will leave up to you because you're intelligent enough to figure that out for yourself, right? Then we got Brother Eddie has given us a comment. He says that's such an important one. We set each other up, right, and how we assign the work, how we execute our assignments. That's right. So he's responding to when we talked about do we set people up to succeed or fail, right? Now I'm done, family. I don't want to take up the whole day, and I'm okay. We did 45 minutes. I think that's pretty good. I just want to thank you all for joining us today, and I certainly hope that you found at least some of our content and our comments relevant and important. I want us to well, no, let me say this. I think it would be helpful for us and empowering to get past this idea of every January 31st, I'm going to set this big list of, family. Your life don't just occur on January 31st, December 31st and January 1st. You got 365 days, right? So what you want to do is set yourself up to succeed by making sure that the majority of those 365 days are powerful, progressive, productive. You're not wasting, you're investing, you're growing, right? You're growing, you're learning, you're doing well, you're seeing the benefits of your labor. Donnie Fletcher, peace, black man. How you be, brother? Happy New Year back to you, brother. Sister Michelle Warren, thank you for this thought-provoking lesson. Thank you for tuning in. Thank Sister Michelle for your kind words. Thank you. Brother Jabril says this was powerful, Bible. Thank you, Brother Jabril. Thank you for your support, man, and your kind and positive spirit on my broadcast. You know, family, so set yourself up to succeed. The turtle will always beat the hare, family. The hare is the showy, who talks a lot, pontificates, makes big proclamations, showy, arrogant, don't feel they got to work hard. They think they can get over on, oh, I'm fast. Naturally, I don't have to run this race fast. I can go to sleep in the middle of the race. They will lose all the time to the turtle. The turtle is non-assuming. Turtle don't talk like the turtle, makes it happen, and is consistent every day, doing a little bit, baby steps every day. And it's practical if you think about it. You can maintain that, right? If you write in a book, you say, I'm going to do 500 pages by the end of the week. Well, guess what, family? You're going to disappoint yourself because that's not happening. So you're going to lose that race. And the more you keep losing races in your life, guess what happens to you mentally? You demoralize yourself. Now you've been losing all your life. Now you're saying, I can never win. That's not true, but that's what you're going to feel. Conversely, if you take the turtle approach, you say, you know what? I want to write a 500-page book. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do a page a day. What? Family, I wrote a 235-page master's thesis at Cornell University, and I did, my commitment was a page a day. And guess what happens? Because it's so manageable and practical, I did at least a page a day. But guess what? There were some days when I was on fire and I might do 10 pages, 20 pages. See, so I was able to exceed the limitations I placed on myself because they were manageable and it was consistent. It was every single day. When I was in that master's program and I started, this would be the second year of the 2-year program. Every day, no matter where I was, what I was doing, I wrote a page. That means that even when I was home back in New York visiting family, I wrote a page every day without exception. Consistency will always win out, family, over people who are maybe smarter and more talented, but they're inconsistent. Sometimes the turtle will always beat the hare, and that's why I love that Aesop fable. That's what I love. And what I'm saying is, you set yourself up to be the turtle when you look at your life. If you're going to look at the year, look at 365 days. You want most of those days to be productive, restful, peaceful, progressive, exhilarating, fulfilling, most of those days. But you also know that some of those days won't be, but that's okay because things work in cycles and nothing stays the same forever. So that you're in a cycle now where you ain't got no money, you ain't got no bread. But that's not going to stay that way, family. That's a cycle. And it's up to you to change that cycle. You have the power to change that cycle. Or you're in a cycle where you're feeling restless and anxious. You want to do something, you don't know what. That's a phase. That's not going to be your whole life. So that's what we're talking about, family. And I hope it was useful. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I want to go because I don't want to be too long. Thank all of you for tuning in. If you have not yet, please hit that subscribe button. Join our movement to give our people life-sustaining, empowering, revolutionary information that you can use the day that you hear it. And just thank you, family, for all of that. I also want to recommend that during this new year, if you haven't, I have some books you might want to check out. I think it's in the description section of the video. Some books and some other things that we're doing that are happening that you might want to support. Thank you so very much, family. And if there are any other, unless there's any other comments or questions, then I'm going to sign off. Brother Jabril says he will implement the self-development tool that I provided. Okay, I appreciate it, man. And remember, these are questions for you to ask. You're in the driver's seat. You're the master. I'm just giving you questions, but how you answer them and how you operationalize them is completely up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. You just say, yeah, that's a good question. How is this working? Is that how I want it? How can I change it? So you have complete control over that. All right. So I want to thank you all for coming out, and I will be seeing you soon. I'm going to develop when exactly our show will be. I'm going to kind of do some things a little differently with this channel. This year, I think will be exciting for all of us. And I just want to thank you. With that said, peace and Black Power, family. No matter what anybody tells you, I got 3 words. If we really ask ourselves these questions and really try to answer them and do our best, the 3 words are, we will win. Peace and Black Power, family. Have a beautiful day. Have a wonderful new year. Speak that into existence and make it happen. Peace.